ここ誰かいるかな。すみません。
What's up guys, Maxim here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be updating the tier list video that I made a month ago. So yeah, I was going to be updating like just the video, but I decided to make a whole new one to actually talk about every single character and their passive in full details in order to make it much easier for new players to actually get a whole idea of which character is good, which one is bad. So yeah, this is going to be a long video, so make sure you grab your popcorn or your drinks because we're going to be in a long ride. But yeah, before jumping into this video, I wanted to say we're making or hosting a giveaway, an account giveaway on the channel to celebrate our 200 subs. So if you want to know how you can actually enter, make sure you head up to the channel and look for the account giveaway video. Alright, with that being said, let's just take the units as we find them here and just put them and see if they're actually good for something. Yeah, let's just start. Basically, I actually made these charts, alignment charts. And each category is actually divided to different ones, which is well units. Well units are the units that require so much in order to so much investment in order for them to work. Yeah, they're really good units overall. They're not better than God. I just happened to place them there because I didn't have any other place to actually place them. But yeah, they just need so much investment in order for them to work. God is actually the best characters in the game. So they're going to be great because of their passive or just because of their damage input that they're actually doing. So yeah, we can discuss that with every character as we go. Amazing overall or actually good for association. It's actually the characters that are actually can be used in different scenarios, such as final bosses and everything. Maybe they do some damage. They used to be gods before, a god tier before a new units came and took their places. Yeah, we're going to be talking about those as well. Good for certain tasks in the game. It's going to be for the characters that are actually good for demons, final bosses, as a buffers. So yeah, it's going to be very good. Not bad supportive units are for the characters that are supposedly good as a lineback, for example. Maybe they're going to be a buffer, maybe just a sidekick that can help you reach the damage input that you're going to be doing. Used early game are for the characters that you can actually use in the early game, but once you reach that mid game to sweet late game, you're going to be abandoning those characters and you're probably never going to use them again. Currently have no use in the game are for the characters that are there but we don't have any use in the game at all for them. It's just it's there to increase your box CC overall, but yeah, unfortunately there is a lot of characters like that. The Suicide Squad are for the characters that upon death they can actually apply a buff that can actually are actually good for the team or for the combo units that you're actually going for. Not on global yet are for the units that are not on global yet, so I don't want to be covering a unit that is not there yet because the meta can be changed from JP and global, so I don't want to be covering a unit before it actually comes. But as we go, we can actually update the tier list and see if they actually fit anywhere in the tier list. So yeah, this is the Red Bond. I don't think he's actually good for anything at the moment. He can be used for extreme red demon Crimson, but he's not that good anymore. I would place him currently have no use in the game, but there is a lot of new players that just started playing the game, so I would place him for used early game. But once you reach that mid game to late game, I would abandon him. He's really good for the last HP of the Crimson because he does so much damage, but afterwards Derriere is much better for the Crimson, so I would put him here. Currently have no use in the game, so let's just keep it like that. Green Meliodas is actually have the best animation in the game, but unfortunately he has no use in the game whatsoever. Like a lot of people say like, hey, why you actually place him like that? He's Demon Meliodas. Yeah, but the game doesn't follow the anime overall. Like no matter how the character looked like or how OP the character in the anime is, sometimes like in the game when it's implemented, it's not as good as you think. And of course it depends on the attribute that character has as well. So yeah, you have to keep on a lookout for that. This is like festival Liz. You can actually get her through events, but she's actually not bad supportive units. I saw some people use her for the knighthood boss. Yeah. All right. We also have this Jericho. She's not bad. She's not used in the game like currently, but I saw some people use her in PvP paired with Hendrickson, Demon Hendrickson. We're gonna be talking about him in a bit, but she's currently no use in the game. Basically, you can't use her anywhere else. So I'm gonna be placing her in currently used in the game. But if you guys like have any different opinion about that, of course, drop a comment down below so I can actually see it. Blue Dian doesn't have any use in the game. Bridal Bond is actually good for a certain task in the game. He's good for the red demon, just because of his ignore defense card, and he's really good when he ults. He does so much damage. Fat King doesn't have any use in the game currently, unfortunately. Helbram, he's actually good for a certain task in the game. He's one of the best buffers in the game, especially if you're doing final bosses. I saw a lot of people actually putting him to buff up Derriere or something. And also like he's great for the knighthood boss and a great demon as well. So yeah, he's really good. So I'm gonna place him good for a certain task in the game. Hendrickson, no use in the game. This one is probably good for training the cave, but currently no use in the game. Slater is actually really good against red demon. If you pair him up with the One Escanor right now, he's actually really good. But yeah, you can actually use him if you don't have the one or something. So like for the phase 1, like the first HP of the red demon, which is like the huge guy with the he's one of the demons basically. He's actually really good for that. Blue Dian, she's not bad. I saw some people actually use her for farming, so we can actually place her as a certain task in the game. She's not the worst unit. She have like a not bad CC overall, but I would place her like she doesn't have like no use in the game, just because like a lot of units actually do the same thing that she does better than she does. But if you have her and you don't have any of the other units that I'm gonna be mentioning in the future in this video, you can actually place her here. But yeah, for now I'm gonna be placing her no use in the game. Of course, you have like a really strong ultimate if you have her 6/6 and so on, because she applies shatter. So yeah, I'm gonna place her for no use in the game because I don't see anybody using her anywhere almost. She could be good if you have like no, I don't think she's good for anything. Just let's skip her. Amazing overall. The red Escanor, he's not that good anymore, but he has one of the highest CC for associations. So and some people use him for farming like the final bosses, if you're just like but if you have him 6/6 and you build him like HP and defense, which is like very rare because most people will like build him up attack and defense, you would actually have a really high CC for associations. But yeah, I would say amazing overall, just because of the high CC, and of course, like if you pair him up with a good buffer, he actually does input like some good damage. So I'm gonna place him there. Green Bond, he's actually good. He actually steals like the stats from other characters. He's not bad, but I would place him not currently no use in the game. But I'm gonna make him like, he's not really a supportive unit either. But I'm gonna put him no use in the game. Unfortunately, he's not bad, and I saw some people use him in PvP, but he's not meta anymore, and you don't you don't like go out of your way to max out bond just because we don't have a good bond in the game right now, and his stats are really low. So even if you happen like to make him UR gear or a certain gear for him, it is not going to be used like frequently in farming or anything. But yeah, currently no use in the game. Maybe that's changed in the future, so we have to wait and see. He's one of the best characters for Grey Demon. In the new banner that it's called like the Homecoming. If you're a new player, you're going to be getting him level 80, fully 5 stars awakened, and he's really good for the Grey Demon, especially if you pair him up with Helbram and also like Green Gother. So keep that in mind. This guy is currently no use in the game, but I would put him like used early in the game. Just because he's good for the Crimson and some of the final bosses. I used him for the final boss Rugal when he came out, so he's not bad just because of his heal seal, and also like he applies like ignites which increase your damage over time, which is not bad, I guess. Leone is actually good for a certain task in the game because of his buff. He actually increased the attack stats. He's a backline kind of unit, so he's really good. He's not bad. Currently no use in the game, no use in the game, no use in the game, no use in the game. Oh, she's actually good for a certain task. She's actually not bad just because of her Pierce guard, so she's actually not bad. This one is not bad. She's actually good for a certain task in the game. No use in the game. No use in the game currently. He's actually really amazing overall, especially with the One Escanor just came out just because of his passive, which increased like the crit resistance, I believe. He's a backline unit, and he's actually good for the Grey Demon as well as a buffer for King. So yeah, I would put him amazing overall just because if you pair him up with Green Diane and the One Escanor and Green Gother, you actually have a really amazing PvP team, just because you want to counter like the One Escanor, because you don't want him to crit, because if he crits he actually does so much damage. So Green Gil Thunder is actually a great meta right now, that if you want to be using him, you can actually use him with Tarmiel, I believe Green Estarossa, Green Gother, and him in the back. He actually can protect you a lot by just reducing like the damage that you're taking overall. No use in the game. Of course, these characters can use for in the reverse stages or the training cave, depending on what level you have at the moment. So yeah, but I wouldn't like go out of my way to level them overall. Green, like Red Gother used to be a god tier before the green unit like came out right now, but he's actually amazing overall, I would say, just because of his like attack seal is really good, and also like because of his ult depletion, like it's actually really good because of his ult. So I would actually place him god if you don't have Green Gother, but amazing overall just because of like the Red Escanor, like the One Escanor is actually out right now, and he's actually kind of kills like the red units very quickly, and also like the Red Gother, actually for his passive to work, like you have to build him up very defensively. You have to build him up so defensive that he doesn't have to like to take damage. His passive is basically I think increase the attack stats if the hero doesn't take damage. So yeah, you have to like to build him up very defensively in order for him not to take like damage overall. You have to like to patient everything, and that requires a lot. Unlike like the Green Gother, which took his place and became like one of the best units or the best units in the game. But we're going to be discussing that in the future. So I would say amazing overall. If you don't have Green Gother, he's actually really good for the rank up and the attack seal, and also like the ult depletion. He's not bad unit overall. Currently, he's not bad. Red Gyriamor is actually, I saw some people actually use him as a defensive because he increased like the HP stats, I believe, by 30%. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but he's not bad. So I would say like he's actually good for a certain task, but nobody's using him anymore. So I would say currently no use in the game. Keep in mind that when I say currently is actually in the meantime of the recording of this video, these characters are not used anywhere, so keep that in mind. This one used to be good for a certain task. You can actually farm red books with, but now currently have no use in the game, but the reverse stages and also like the training cave. But yeah, she used to like to you can actually farm so quickly with her, the red books. But if you want to like to farm the red books, still you can actually pair her up with red Gother, and you can actually use her to farm some books or something, like the red books especially. So yeah, this one currently no use in the game. I'm just like trying to put like all the SSRs all together. She's actually really good. I would say amazing overall, but she's good for a certain task in the game, just because of her passive, which increased like the attack related stats by 10% for the strength attribute units. So she's actually really good to have in the backline, and actually increase your damage input, especially if you're running like Dairy Area or something like that. He's actually good for a certain task in the game. If you're late game kind of player, he's actually really good and very annoying in the guild wars, but currently he doesn't have any use in the game. I assume he's actually good for the training cave, maybe if you don't have any other units leveled up, but yeah, he's good for a certain task if you're late game. And if you're like kind of new player, I would say he's just like currently no use in the game. This guy Hauser is not good for anything but the reverse stages probably. He's currently no use in the game. She's actually good for certain tasks. Like the red Jericho, she actually increased the attack related stats, but by 10% for the speed attribute, and like not the strength, unlike the red Jericho. So she's actually good. Jillian is actually good for this certain task in the game. She's actually good because she's a backline kind of unit. She doesn't do damage, but she increased like the green units HP by 30%. So if you're looking for survivability or something, she can be very good to actually increase your HP, the green ones, like green attributes, characters by 30% is really good. Currently no use in the game. Marmas is actually really good for a certain task in the game, just because of his passive. He's really good because of his passive and his ultimate as well. If you want to put him in the front, he can be used for the red demon, and he can be used for a lot of final bosses just because of his passive, which is increase the speed attribute characters HP by 30% is really good, especially if you're maybe doing a future knighthood boss or something, and you're looking for survivability. He's actually really good. So yeah, he's really good. I like Marmas. Currently no use in the game. You can actually use him, maybe used early in the game. You can actually like use him to level up and beat some bosses. He can be used for the red demon if you have him leveled up for until you actually level up the One Escanor if you pulled for him, and you should. So yeah, he's used early game. I would say he's a good association. I still use him sometimes when I don't have like a certain character leveled up. Merlin is actually amazing overall, just because of her ult depletion, and also like her passive is really good. If you want to be rushing ultimate, you can actually put her in the backline, and she increased like the ult gouge by 1%. That's her passive once you enter the field. And she's not bad. She's actually good for association for Escanor if you have her leveled up and so on. This guy actually have the high CC upon like all Gothers, but currently he doesn't have any use in the game. But he actually good for the training cave as well if you want to use him. I use him to fight Hendrickson just because of his card, which decrease card rank. So he's not bad overall if you want to use him for training cave and you have him level 60, so he's not bad overall. Ruin have no use in the game. I saw some people use him for PvP for trolls, so if you want to do that, be my guest. Simon is not bad. He currently doesn't have any use in the game, but his passive is not bad because I think it increased damage in PvP. I saw some people like before the meta changes like drastically, he used to like to be used in the back. So if you have any like combo that you want to be using him with, be my guest. I'm gonna tell you like his passive. Yeah, you can be used for a certain task if you have a certain combo. Right now Red Slater is actually not bad. He's currently no use in the game, unfortunately, but he's a good for a certain task. For example, like just because of his attack seal, like his like debuff seal, he's actually really good for the training cave. One of the demons in the training cave actually relies so much on her debuff skills and so on, and he happened to have a skill where it actually just make them not work. So he's actually really, really good for a certain task. Sometimes when you get stuck in the story where you're fighting like a certain boss that relies so much on his debuff skills, you can actually bring him and he actually seal them. So he's not really, really good. Tweak God, of course, he's actually really, really good just because of his passive, which increased the strength attribute heroes like HP by 30%. He's really, really good. And there is some memes that you're gonna be seeing, which is Tweak God, just because of his mustache. And yeah, you know, he looks very, very good, and people are gonna say like he's the best unit in the game, but that's just lies. Don't believe him. And this guy doesn't have any, I forgot his name, but he doesn't, this guy, I don't know his name either. He doesn't have any use in the game. I'm gonna put like, I'm trying to keep an order just so people don't get confused that these ones are like better than these ones. These ones still have the higher CC than these ones. So yeah, Red Diane have no use in the game currently, unfortunately. This guy, she have no use in the game. Red Diane, but her attack seal is not bad. So if you have like a certain combo in PvP or you want to use it for troll, she have attack seal card with a level 1, like Red Gother. But Red Gother like requires a level 2, but she can actually use it turn 1 with level 1. So she can be interesting if you have a certain combo in mind, but currently she's not used in farming. She's not used in any of the final bosses or the bosses, so I would say like she's currently have no use in the game. This guy doesn't have any use in the game. She's actually good for certain tasks just because of her healing. She have a really good passive, which is like heal a certain percentage, I think like 10% of HP for like the beginning of each turn, which is really, really good. So I would pair her up with, you can use it for the Red Demon at the beginning if you want to heal, if you're looking for sustainability. Some people use her for the final boss and also for the Knighthood boss, so she's really, really good. I would actually level her up. She's not bad. She's good for Great Demon if you want to rush ultimate and so on, and she's actually good for a certain task in the game. Red Merlin, unfortunately, she doesn't have any task in the game right now, so she's really good for the training cave, don't get me wrong, but there is a lot of characters that you can actually level up with her. I'm gonna place her for good for certain tasks just because of the training cave. He's good for the training cave as well, but no use in the game currently. He used to be very meta like before in the King Seal team, like Kimbrum. He have like a Petrify, and if you pair him up with King, you can actually have an infinite amount of Petrify, so it's really, really good. This guy doesn't have any use in the game, no use in the game. He's good for the training cave, so I can put him for a certain task in the game. She's actually not bad overall. I'm gonna place her here just because of her Solidify, and she does so much damage. There is a tower tile that you can actually use her in, so she's good for like a certain task in the game. I'm gonna put these up because they have like better stats and so on, but she's not bad overall. She's actually really, really good. Currently have no use in the game. The Slime collab, unfortunately, doesn't have any use in the game right now, which just sucks because you can't actually make them UR gear. For some reason, those are the characters, one of the few characters in the game right now that doesn't have UR gear. Like you can't. So I don't know why. So we have to wait and see. This guy is good for a certain task in the game, especially with the homecoming like banner that just like gives you level 80 characters for free. One of them is actually, you can actually choose Hauser. He's good for farming. Some people use him for anvil, like gold farming right now. So if you haven't leveled up and you don't have like green shin, you can actually level him up as well. He's the Slime collab. He's not good for anything. Slime collab, not good for anything. She's good for a certain task in the game. Currently, she have no use in the game, like in PvE wise, but her passive is actually decrease damage, like enemy damage by 16%, I believe. So she's not bad in PvP, but you're not using her for anything. You can actually use her for the training cave. Just for the sake of it, I'm gonna put her here, but I would place her here. She doesn't like, if I don't have an option, I wouldn't level her up, right? But if I have like a lot of resources and I want to try out a certain team, I would actually put her up. But yeah, I'm gonna place her for currently no use in the game. Currently no use in the game. Elaine, he's actually one of the best buffers in the game. I would say amazing overall. You can actually use him for the Crimson and some tasks in the game. So I would say amazing overall just because of his buffing, and he's one of the best buffing units in the game. Currently have no use in the game. Some people actually use him for the training cave. He's currently no use in the game. She's actually Suicide Squad, as I mentioned earlier. These are the characters that actually, if they die, they give you a buff or a certain thing in the game. She's actually, her passive is that when she dies, she actually gives ultimates to, or 2 ultimate couches for you when she happens to die. So she's actually really, really good. And plus, like, her heal and everything is actually really, really good. Escanor is amazing overall just because of CC purposes and for associations. Especially, he's so easy to 6/6, and he's on every banner, right? So you can actually get him 6/6 easy. So he's easier to 6/6 than the red Escanor. Yeah, Jericho, she doesn't have any task in the game. She's good for the training cave, and if you don't have Derriere, I would put her here. Because she's a good nuker. She does so much damage once she crits if you build up her passive. But currently she doesn't have any task in the game, but I would use her for the training cave. There is a certain boss that you can actually burn her in, and yeah, you guys can watch my training cave video and see why she's actually good. But currently she's not, so no use in the game just because of Derriere took her place. Green Diane, she's meta right now. She's one of the best units to counter the One Escanor just because of her taunt. She's actually really, really good. So if you don't have her leveled up, and if you didn't give her dupes, you should, because she's really, really good to counter the One Escanor. You're gonna be seeing her a lot in PvP. Her taunt actually lasts for like 3 turns or something, and she annoys the One Escanor so he doesn't one-shot one of your units. So she's actually very, very good. Frisia, or whatever she's called, this one, I forgot. Vivian, I think. She's not good for anything. She's just like good for the training cave, and once you level up your characters, you pretty much don't have to use her anymore. This guy just trolls. You can actually level him if you want to troll someone. Halloween Elaine, she's actually good for a certain task in the game. She's one of the best buffers for the red demon. Her level 1 actually increase your attack radius stats by 30%, I believe. But yeah, she's not a unit that is available for everybody. So I would place her for good for a certain task in the game. If you pair her up, like if you bring Easton and the and your teammates and the demon actually bring Halloween Elaine, you can actually go through like the red demon so quickly. You can actually 3-turn him. I made a video recently about 3-turning the red demon, so you guys make sure you check it out if you haven't already. It's crazy good. Halloween Gila is not good for anything. Amazing overall just because of her passive, her ult depletion, and everything else. She's good with she makes a lot of units that rely so much on her peers much better, and she have heals, and she's like diverse overall. I would put her here like god just because of like everything, but she's not that meta anymore. But you could still use her in final bosses and some of the training the tower trials. So I would place her like amazing overall just because of her her passive. I would say he's no use in the game. He's a really late game kind of thing. I wouldn't go out of my way to level him, but I would put him like as good for a certain task just because of the knighthood boss. Some people actually like discovered a certain strategy to use him in the knighthood boss right now if you want to like to get a good score in normal. But I wouldn't go out of my way to like to waste SSR pendants on him, as like in 7 Deadly Sins, like the resources are so scarce and they're so limited, so I wouldn't go out of my way to level him up. Demon Meliodas is amazing overall. If you pair him up with Lilia, he's good for the tower trials, and if you don't have any other characters leveled up, he's actually good for farming, just because of the AoE and everything. His passive is really, really good, so I would say he's good for farming and amazing overall. No use in the game currently. He's actually good for the reverse stages. amazing overall just because of his passive. He's actually really good as a backline. His passive is really OP, which is decrease defense, now critical defense and critical resistance by 30%. And he's like kind of backline in PvP, and you can actually bring him to Grey Demon as well as a backline if you want your king to constantly crit and do more damage. So he's actually really good. Death Pierce is not bad. He's amazing overall. He fell off meta after like the Festival King came out. But King is actually still good. He's good for like, I saw some people actually use him for farming just because of his ultimate, and his heals and the training cave and his high CC. So I would put him amazing overall if you don't have any alternatives. And plus, like, you get him for free in the beginning of the game, so he's not bad. Fat King is actually good for, he's annoying in the actually the guild wars, but I'm gonna place him currently no use in the game, especially if you're not a late game kind of player. No use in the game, no use in the game currently, but she's actually good for some final bosses, and also she's the highest CC Merlin, so she's actually good for association. Just for the sake of that, I'm actually putting her here. Just for the final bosses and also association, so why not? Currently no use in the game. Valenti is actually amazing overall, just because of her resistance and everything. She can actually make so much. She can make it like a really cancerous team if you pair her up with the green Lilia like this one, and you just like withdraw as well. You can actually make a full resistant team, and it gets really annoying. Trust me, I saw those teams. You don't kill them in PvP. No use in the game. Deldry, just for the first stages, maybe training cave. No use in the game currently. She's good for farming, but she's currently have no use in the game. Look at this, guys. Like, it's crazy how like these units doesn't have any use in the game. They're a lot. They're just like growing. This guy is actually good, one of the best units for Red Demon. We have so many Red Demon units. You can actually bring him up just because of his ultimate, but with the One Escanor right now out, I wouldn't bring him. I would bring Slater just like for the first phase, so you can actually go through it and you don't have to waste the One Escanor cards. But he's still good if you don't have the One Escanor and if you don't have Slater, just because of his ultimate and everything else. And plus, like, he's not bad for associations. Elati is actually good for a certain task in the game. Her ultimate like remove debuffs and also like increase defensive stats as well. So she's really good when it comes to Knighted bosses. If you like, a lot of strategies are surrounded around her, but you need like very good ultimate level for her. So I would say she's good for a certain task in the game. She's not bad. Don't underestimate her. This guy is actually good for a certain task in the game. He's good for against story if you don't have any character leveled up, and if you don't have the right characters. His counter and plus like his damage input is actually really good. He's good for association as well. Suicide Squad kind of thing. Blue Fradron is actually not bad, but like I said earlier, this is for the characters that are meant to die in order to give you like a certain thing, and he's good because if he dies, he happened to like to give you full ultimate gouges, so he's actually really good. Yeah, and plus like some people use him for tower trials. Like there's a combo Melascula and him with his reflective cards, so makes him very good. He's actually good for Red Demon. Oh my god, we have so many characters for Red Demon. But yeah, I would, if you have the One Escanor and you have like 2 buffers, you probably don't need to level him up unless like you don't have the One Escanor, and you can actually use him there. Easton, she's actually amazing overall. I would say she's actually good for anvil farming. She used to be good for certain tasks just because of her buff, but now if you have her like a high level ultimate, she actually does so much damage, and people use her for the knighthood boss as well right now, and she's good for like anvil farming if you have like gear for her and the right gear for her. So I would put her amazing overall right now. Jenna is actually good for a certain task just because she's one of the characters that you can actually put her in the back for the Red Demon, and she gives you a guaranteed like, of course, if you have her cosmetics, it gives you a guaranteed enhancement stone for cosmetics, so she's really good. This guy is a whale unit. If I wouldn't go out of my way to max him out, but some people actually spend a ridiculous amount of money just trying to max him out and do everything for him, just because if he's actually really good in PvP. If you're not familiar with his passive, if he actually out CCs the character, he actually seals your ultimate for 2 turns, and you cannot like cleanse it or remove it, which is crazy. Red Derriere used to have no use in the game, but now she have a certain task, like good for a certain task. She's actually good if you pair her up with the resistance team because of her ultimate depletion card, and she have like a really good CC, and you can actually get cosmetics for the Red Derriere if you have her. But I would say she's have no use in the game. She's good for the like the guild wars, and it's a really late game kind of activity. So I would put her currently have no use in the game, but she's not bad if you want to have a certain combo with her in PvP. Red Acerosa, I would say amazing overall, and I would even put him in God SS just because of. Just because of his counter, like his counter is so good. I would put him here, like amazing overall, but I'm gonna put him God just for the sake of his counter, and he's really valuable in the Tower Trial seasons. You can actually have certain combos, especially if the Tower Trials doesn't have like the rule where it does extra damage to demons. He can actually cruise through like the Tower Trials very quickly, and plus he's good for the Training Cave and good for PvP right now. He's very meta against the One Escanor, so I'm gonna put him God right now just because of the meta. Jenna is actually really good. This is Zenary and this is Jenna, right? Or no, this is Jenna, this is Zenary. She's actually good for Grey Demon. If you have her cosmetics, she actually enables you to get the guaranteed enhancement materials for cosmetics, like Jenna. So I would do that. Green Munspeed, I like him so much. I would love to put him amazing overall just because he's good for PvP, but currently he doesn't have any use in the game, unfortunately. But he's one of my favorite units in the game if you pair him up with Kyo. But unfortunately Kyo is really good right now, but he's not used anymore just because of the One Escanor in PvP, and also like you can't bring him for anywhere else, so I'm gonna be placing him currently have no use in the game. It might change in the future. Mono have like a crazy amount of damage, and if you have like the right units, you can actually be very good, but I wouldn't recommend you to go out of your way if you just start playing the game and you're not a spender. I would just put him currently no use in the game, but of course you can actually use her for the Training Cave if you just don't have any of the right characters. Last Meliodas is actually a god, even though that the One Escanor is out here. He's ultimate and his passive is just broken. The character, if you crit him once, he level up like characters. It's like having two characters in one. He's crazy, and his ultimate does a ridiculous amount of damage. Red Derriere is a god. She's one of the most or the highest like character, like a single target like damage input for a character in the game currently. Her ultimate can actually scale up to like 11 million with a crit or something, or 12 million, which is crazy. No character can actually do that. Derriere have the highest damage in the game right now, like single target damage. It's crazy. She's actually good for certain tasks. She's actually it's the same as Zenary and Jenna. She guarantee you to get a cosmetic, so I'm gonna put her in good for a certain task in the game. He currently doesn't have any task in the game. He got a buff recently, but he's still no use in the game, bro. He's just that bad. I'm gonna put him good for a certain task in the game, just because there is a new strategy that just came out for Crimson, where if you use him with Zeldris and also like Derriere, you can actually turn the Crimson, literally. So I'm gonna put him for a certain task, and that's about it, because he currently doesn't have any other uses in the game. So I wouldn't like go out of my way to level him first. I would like focus on the main characters that I mentioned and level them up, and then when I have time and maybe like some excess in resources, I would actually level them up. Milaska is currently have no use in the game, but once Assault Meliodas came out, she's going to be god tier because she's going to be changing the meta a little bit. She's good for the guild war, I believe. She's a bit annoying, but currently she doesn't have any use in the game, so I wouldn't go out of my way to level her up. This guy is actually amazing overall, just because of his high CC, and plus like he's almost on every banner, so it's so easy to like 6-6 him. He used to have like the high CC in the game before Tarmio came out, alongside the red version of him. Yeah, I'm gonna put him amazing overall, just because of his high single target damage, and if he happens to crit, He does so much damage, bro. He literally can out. He actually does like 300k like easily if he crits and he have like Gother passive. So yeah, keep that in mind. He's no use in the game. You can actually. I'm gonna put him for God first, like good first task, just because he's good for Grey Demon. If you don't have like green Escanor, you don't have green King as well. You can actually bring him up. He does like a nice damage with his single target, but his passive makes him so bad just because of his passive. If he happens to crit, if he happens not to crit, he does like so much more damage. And if he happens to crit, he does so much less damage, which is so weird because he has 80% crit chance. It's so dumb. Like, he's so dumb. Roxy is no good in the game. She's eye candy. She's goddess. I would put her here. She's really, really good. I wouldn't put Destarossa there. I'm gonna put this guy. This god is so annoying. Like, Goddess Elizabeth have 6 characters in one. She have heals, she have stuns, she have like she have stance removal, she have a shield that protects the whole team, she have reflect. Oh my god, she's so annoying. And she have revive as well. Let's not forget about that. She's meta. She's used for the tower trials, she's used in PvP. You're gonna see her everywhere. You're gonna hate yourself when you see her. Mastrona is actually good for some knighthood bosses, but the strategy got overtaken. Green Hawk. Right now, he's actually amazing overall for story, and if you don't have the characters leveled up, some people use them for the tower trials as well, because they have a really high like damage, just because in the festivals such as this one, like each big event, his passive gets increased to 50% instead of 15%. So a lot of people use him in certain hard activities. So you can actually bring him up, and plus you get him 6/6 for free. So he's going to be very, very good for maybe associations, maybe some like events that requires you to do a certain damage. So he's actually really, really good to 6/6. I would actually 6/6 him. Glocks is actually really, really good. I would say amazing overall. Some people like underestimate how good Glocks she is, but the red Glocks is actually really, really good for the knighthood wars. So she's actually really, really good. And plus, like, I saw some people actually use her in the top ranks, like top 100, just because of her like rank 2 seals. She actually like seals rank 2 cards, and also like she have a massive heal, and her passive is not bad as well. It's actually good for Red Demon. I'm gonna put him for a certain task. I'm gonna put Glocks here because she's not that amazing overall, but she's a late game kind of character, so I would put her there. Mikasa, because she have no use in the game. She have a really nice passive, but yeah, the collab units are so underwhelming. I don't know why. He has no passive. He's so hard to get, and he doesn't have any use in the game. Droll is amazing overall. He's good for association, and plus like he's really, really good because of his passive, especially if you're facing like ult rush kind of team. He actually seals ultimates, so he's actually really, really good. Eren have no use in the game right now. I'm sorry, Eren. I like Attack on Titan. Levi is not bad, but he doesn't have any use in the game. You don't see him often. She's actually not bad. She have a certain task in the game, which is like her passive, like increased giant, I think, damage by 40%. So I saw some people pair her up with Droll and put her in the back in PvP. She's not bad. Her ultimate hit very hard. Zeldris is actually really, really good. He's amazing overall. But unfortunately, the One Escanor just annihilate everyone right now, especially if you have red attribute. He have no task in the game. Camilla have no task in the game. She's currently just eye candy. Blue Droll is really, really good, and he's actually going to be even better once Assault Meliodas comes out. So it's actually really, really, really good. Just because of his resistant buff, he's good for association for Loducio if you have him whaled up. This guy is a whale unit. He can be SS tier, or he can be no use in the game overall. Just because he's passive, if he actually out CCs someone, he actually reduced their defensive stats by 40%, but you have to like to spend a ridiculous amount of resources on him. You basically like take 3 resources of 3 characters, like resources of 3 characters and put them into one, and that's Lucio for you. But yeah, he can actually vary from no use to the game to whale. Depends on how big your wallet is. So yeah, you have to 6-6 him. You have to like to give him perfect stats and everything. So keep that in mind. Currently no use in the game, but she's going to be good for a boss in the future. I believe she's going to be good against Ban, like final boss Ban. So yeah, currently no use in the game. I don't know when these are coming. There's a prediction that they're coming next week after the One festival, just because they're trying to like to keep up and bring all the units that are actually missing from the game. So we have to wait and see how that goes. But yeah, Green Easton is actually really good for the knighthood bosses, and not the knighthood bosses, sorry, she's the knighthood wars. But I don't know, she used to be meta for a certain time in JP, but since the One came out right now, I don't know how she's going to be implemented. I don't think she's going to be meta. Gerhard is actually not good for anything right now. He's actually amazing overall. I think he's good for the tower trials, or good for a certain task in the game. I wouldn't say he's the best, but his passive is really good, so I'm gonna place him amazing overall. His passive, you get him for free, and he makes like PvE content very easily, very easy, sorry. But yeah, I would put him for amazing overall. If you happen like to get him for 6 maybe, and you go out of your way to super awaken him. His passive like increase damage input by 35% and take less damage by 35% as well, but it's only usable in PvP, so keep that in mind. Athena is actually amazing overall. If you pair her up in the back, she's actually good for brawl, and she's actually good for PvP if you're like want to, if it happens that the meta like switches again to ult rush. She's actually going to be very good in PvP. She's actually good in the, she doesn't have no use in the game right now, but she's actually good if you pair her up with Festival King. So if you have Festival King and Hendrickson, you can actually pair him up. He's actually amazing overall right now, or good for a certain task in the game. There's a strategy that evolves around using him to farm gold, I believe, or anvils, I'm not sure. So he's amazing overall if you pair him up with the King, but you have to like to spend a lot of resources on the Festival King units in order to like to start first, because if you don't start first with Hendrickson and Festival King, you're pretty much like facing Goddess Elizabeth each time, and if she puts a shield up, like the corrosion doesn't apply, and you probably like pretty much like costs you so hard. Green Gother is currently the best unit in the game right now, just because of his passive. His passive is so broken. He basically like takes the passive of the red version of him and makes it even better. For each turn passes, if you have like characters that doesn't have the same race, like a different race from him, you actually increase like your attack related stats by 7% each turn, to stack up like 4 times, I believe, or 5 times. It's crazy good. It's huge. Roxy is actually amazing overall. She's good for tower trials. She's she can actually be a meta changer as well. She can actually counter the One Escanor very well, just because of her damage and everything, but you have to build her up and super awaken her and do all those good stuff for her. So she's actually good for the tower trials, and her passive is not bad, which is increase like stats for each like human character in the field. She's have no use in the game, bro. You can actually use her in PvP. She's not bad, but her passive is just too bad. Oh my god. Kyo, he's actually amazing overall right now. He used to be not bad in PvP, but I would say he's actually good for some final bosses maybe, and some knighthood bosses right now. But yeah, his passive with the Ignites is really good, and his damage input is actually broken. I currently use him for gold farming because I don't have Festival King leveled up. Yeah, he's not bad overall, so I would actually put him amazing overall if you happen to have him. Mai is actually amazing overall as well. If you pair her up with Droll, she actually does so much damage just because of her buff card. I don't know, I forgot what's that. So yeah, she's not bad overall. Mono, she's currently no use in the game, but she's going to be good against final boss Escanor when he comes out. Shinny's actually have no use in the game right now. He have so much good potential, and he does so much damage, but nobody's using him for anything. You don't even see him in PvP. You can actually use him in PvP if you have a certain unit, but personally I don't use him for anything. I didn't even bother summoning for him. So yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Rugal is actually amazing overall. He does so much damage, like Demon Meliodas. If you put him with Lilia and everything, he's actually good for the Tower Trials, so it's not bad. This guy is broken. He does so much damage and his stats are crazy good. Tarmio, I would say, amazing overall. It depends on the team that you actually pair him up, but his stats are actually not bad because he has the highest CC in the game, so I'll put him God just because of his stats and associations and everything, but it depends on which team you actually pair him up with. I currently use him for the Tower Trials as well, so he's very versatile, so I'm gonna put him a God just because of his high stats and everything. The One Escanor is going to be right behind Gother and Elizabeth because he's the highest multiplier single target in the game right now. When his passive is just broken, he actually removed debuffs once he hits 3 turns, and plus his cards actually scales up to 600% or something, and plus he crits like crazy. He's just too good. His stats are really good as well. If you haven't summoned for him yet, what are you doing, bro? You're missing out. You're going to be off meta for a really long time. I don't know if this tier list is missing anybody, but yeah, let me know if I missed anybody. Festival Ging is going to be amazing overall. It depends on how big your wallet is. He's actually good for anvil farming as well. If you have him 5-6 and you have all his cosmetics, I didn't bother summoning for him. I actually don't have him right now, but if you happen to have Hendrickson maxed out and also Goddess Elizabeth maxed out and him maxed out for all cosmetics and have everything to start first, then he's really good. But if you don't want to waste so much resources on 3 characters instead of 1, I would say he's amazing overall just because of his high CC and everything. But yeah, hopefully we covered every single unit in the game. This was a really long video to make. I'm so out of breath. I need to drink so much water after this. I hope you find this helpful, and if it did, please don't forget to leave a like as always. I really appreciate it, and do help the channel to grow. And subscribe if you haven't already for more 7 Deadly Sins content like this. We have so much giveaways, so much insight of the game right now, and yeah, we're going to be having so much fun together. So please consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. We're on the road to reach 500 subscribers. It's amazing, the journey of just having you guys here. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.